Hey y'all, how are you glowing? Could not wait to record this video. It's like I start having withdrawals when I don't record videos, and I feel like I have something within me that I need to get out for you other moms out there that need encouragement and need a push and just need that one word or that one person to tell you what you need to hear for the moment or for whatever you're going through in your life, so you can continue on that journey to your glow up. So with that being said, how are you glowing today? It is Wednesday, May 29th. Today's the 30th. Today's the 30th. We have we have one more day left in the month, and I hope your May was a month of awareness. You know, May is the month that we celebrate mothers, but we all know that every day is Mother's Day. So every single day as a mom, you should be just pushing and pursuing you and who you are, because that's so important to it's just important for your children, it's important for you, your husband, and for a lot of other people that are connected to you. So I wanted to end this month talking about some awareness for me and my struggles as a mompreneur or momtrepreneur. I never like saying it that way. I like saying mompreneur. So my struggles as a mompreneur, I'm sitting here at McDonald's, y'all. I just got my lunch, and I don't want my fries to get cold, because it's like, when fries are fresh, that's when they the best. So, man, I've had a lot of awareness this month just through reading this one book and doing my devotional that I made with some scriptures, like 30 days of scriptures. And I titled the devotion, let me get my food pad. I titled the devotion "When Life Isn't Going as Planned." And this is my second month doing the devotion, and man, I've had so many different levels of awareness about myself, about God, and where God wants to take me in my life, and what he wants me to do for my children and as a wife. And I'm also reading this book called Switch on Your Brain. I'm reading it on Kindle. And reading this book along with doing my devotional again, it was just like Switch on Your Brain. You have to read that book, because it gives you the perspective of your mind, science, and God. So it puts science with the Bible, and it talks about why God really created our minds. It's mind-blowing, and that stuff gets me. So as I go through this journey of really just pursuing what I need to be doing, not what I necessarily want to be doing, because God put me here for a reason. So what I need to be doing for God, not what I want to be doing, but I just wanted to talk about my struggles as a mompreneur, pursuing entrepreneurship as a mom and a wife. And reading this book, Switch on Your Brain, it's it helps you to it helps you to break down the toxic thoughts that you have been having and that has been sabotaging your life. And it shows you how to build up the healthy thoughts to change your life. So I think I've talked about this before, and I've been aware of this for a long time, but I just really realized how much I struggle with these things. So as a mompreneur, entrepreneurship is in my blood. My parents are entrepreneurs. I just love entrepreneurship. And I have so many goals and so many visions. I have so many notebooks full of ideas and plans and just God stuff, things that God have given me. But my problem is executing and following through, right? So now I'm at a place where why is my life not changing? Every month, every year, every week, whatever goes by, really years, I'm like, why am I still struggling with the same thing this same time the next year? Like, why am I not having enough money? Why am I still depending on other people? Why does other people's opinion still matter to me? Those are the toxic thoughts that I have been dealing with, that I did not learn how to break down, that I saw but I didn't really see, if I could put it in that perspective. And you know, who I'm surrounded with, my environment, like things that I do every day, my habits. And these are just some of the things that I am just really, really aware of now, that I am really, truly working on as I break down the toxic things and build up the healthy things. So the number one thing, I wrote these down yesterday. The number one thing for me is indecisiveness. Indecisiveness. So I can get a vision or an idea or a goal, and I'll write it down, or say I know what I want to be doing. So just as soon as I get that thought in my mind, I know what I want to do. It's like all these what ifs come in my mind. Like, oh, I don't have enough money. What if this? What if that? What if I don't have time? Oh, my kids this. My kids are an excuse. My husband is an excuse. Of people, this, blah, blah, blah. So I get really indecisive because, and it's more fear. When you become indecisive, it's fear. But I take a long time to make decisions. I take a long time to say yes to something and move in action. So I go, and indecisiveness is not just with like big things that you want to do in life. It's little things, and that's where it starts. Like, what do you want to eat, right? Like, oh, I don't want to eat that. I don't want, you know, like being indecisive and going back and forth, it wastes time, precious time that you can't get back. So I've spent many years being indecisive about things that I want to do. And the crazy thing is, it's something that I know I want to do, but I just don't make a decision. So I'm learning how to break down the decision-making process, because I think really at the end of the day, you think about, do I have time to be wasting on this decision? It depends on what you're deciding about. Do I have time to be wasting? Also, how is it going to affect me? How is it going to affect my children? How is it going to affect my marriage? How is it going to affect my life and my purpose and my well-being? Like, when you need to make a decision, you need to break it down in like categories. And I read in this book of, I have 48 days to like creating the job you love or something. And in this book, I think his name is Dan Miller. He talked about how indecisiveness and indecision is like, it sabotages your life. So he said for him and his wife, on certain things, they'll take 2 weeks. So if it's a big decision, they take 2 weeks to make the decision. And once the 2 weeks come, it's like you have to make that decision. So you should also give your decision a time frame. So say I need to make a decision in an hour, 24 hours, 48 hours, 3 days, a week, a month. You know, like, really no decision should take a month. But you have to break it down, and you have to, because indecisiveness means that you're not moving. Like, you're not moving. If you're in between yes and no for like 2-3 weeks, like, you're not taking action. So just the moment you say yes, you can move. Just the moment you say no, you can let it go and move on. It's about the point is to keep moving. You can't stop. You can't, do. And that leads into procrastination, which is my next struggle. So I procrastinate a lot. And when I tell you guys, I have planners on top of planners on top of planners, I procrastinate a lot. So I'll say, even like something right now I'm dealing with. I was supposed to make an appointment to go to the doctor. I wrote it down like probably 3 weeks ago. Why am I procrastinating on making this appointment? And every time I look at my to-do list, it's just as simple as dialing the number and making an appointment. And I just don't do it. So it's little things like that that really affects you in a bigger way than you can really see. Something as simple as making a phone call for less than 5 minutes and making an appointment. It's for my well-being. It shouldn't even be something that I procrastinate on. That's the problem. So if I procrastinate on making a doctor's appointment that is for my well-being and my health, imagine what I do with the bigger things, like in business. If my goal and my desire is to own a multi-million-dollar insurance agency or brokerage, which that really is my goal, I can't procrastinate. every day I have to make sure that I'm doing something, even if it's one thing, towards that goal. But if I'm procrastinating and every day I look at my to-do list and say, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, and I keep adding it to the next to do and the next to do. Next thing you know, a month has went by, 6 months have went by. What are we like? Okay, what if you're procrastinating? What are you procrastinating for? Me, I gotta ask myself, like, Crystal, why are you procrastinating? And that's one of those habits. That's one of those toxic things in my mind that I have to break down and build up a healthy thought about taking action. It is for my well-being. It's gonna leave legacy for my family. I'm helping other people. So even when you procrastinate, you have to think about who else you are affecting. Who else needed whatever you had for that day? So if you feel like you've been sitting on a dream, a goal, an idea, and you keep procrastinating, you push it back, think about the person that you were supposed to touch today. Think about the person that you were supposed to touch tomorrow, next week. God also gives time frames. God doesn't procrastinate. But when we procrastinate, we're affecting his plan too. So if my goal is to have a insurance agency, that means I'm supposed to be helping people protect their income. And every single day that goes by that I'm not doing something towards that, I have missed someone that I was supposed to help financially. All right, so that's procrastination. Think about that. So my next thing is, it all kind of goes together though. So fear is like one of those main factors where when we are indecisive, fear kicks in, and when we procrastinate, fear kicks in, because if we're not taking action and doing something, then we allow fear to come in and take over. So that gives space to the negative stuff when we're not moving towards what it is that we want or we should be doing. We allow fear to set in, overthinking, and this is where the indecisiveness comes in and the procrastination. Fear is not real. Fear is not real. In the Bible, it says God has given us power, love, and a sound mind, meaning we have the right mindset. He's given us power, so fear shouldn't even be an issue. Like, we have just the thought of choosing to procrastinate. That's power. We're giving power to procrastination, which feeds the fear, right? So I mean, like, what else? I mean, I don't know what else to say. So I just put up next to me, but so fear, that when we procrastinate and we become indecisive, we give fear power, we give overthinking power, and then the next thing on my list is people and opinions. Then we allow people to come in, we give them power, and what they say becomes more powerful in our minds and in our lives than what we know we should be doing and what we know we want. So that has been my struggle for years. And to be honest, like, I would always go to other people. Oh, what do you think? What you think? Like, I will never let this thought go, because I know this is something that I will never do again. So I had something that I was working on that was so near and dear to my heart. And it was a brand, and it's something that I had started building because of some things that I was going on in my life. And it had to do with breaking free, like just breaking free from all this negativity and toxic thoughts. It was Woman versus Freedom. That was a brand that I had. And the purpose of that was to help other women get out of their comfort zone and pursue their purpose. So I was going really, 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 really good. Like, I was taking action every day. I had some things going. My plans were like in place, and I was just good. And then all of a sudden, I allowed a friend, which I really admired her opinion and everything. Like, that's what she, she does branding. So, excuse me, y'all, my nose itching. Excuse me. So she does branding and stuff like that. So she came in, and every time I think about this, I'm like, man, I was weak. Like, I was so weak. But I talked to her about something, and she said, oh, I don't think you should be doing this, and I don't think you should be doing that. That one line alone knocked me completely off of my feet. And I just lost the momentum that I had. And you know, most of the time when we lose momentum, when we're into something and it's going good and we lose that, the moment we lose that, it is so hard to come back, especially if you don't know how to pick yourself right back up after. Like, if you don't know how to handle that negative opinion, or not necessarily saying that it was negative, but you know, it's how you handle it. And I gave power to her opinion, and it knocked me. I mean, when I say knocked me, like, it just came like an avalanche and just knocked me off my feet, took me all the way down the mountain, the slope, and just buried me. And that was almost 3 years ago. And here I am today. Like, man, at first I was regretting it, but once I became aware of what happened, now I will not let that happen again. So you have to be careful of the people and the opinions, and even comparison was another struggle for me. And comparing yourself to other people and what they're doing, because you give power to these things. It's how you handle it, and you give power to these things, and then that is overtaking the thought process and the space that you should be giving to the positivity, the space that you should be giving to action and the healthy thoughts. Like, you give power to people and their opinions. I was the same, like, it was the same way with my parents. Like, I used to worry about what my parents thought about what I was doing, because that's how I was raised. Like, my parents' opinions mattered so much, and they would tell me what they wanted me to do, and I did it. But it wasn't for me to do, especially as an adult. I struggle with that as an adult, to, like, what if, and what do my parents think? Because that mattered to me so much at one point. Now it doesn't. And I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way, but I respect my parents so much. But when you become an adult, you have to live your life and do what is right for you and what God wants you to do with your life. My parents did their job by bringing me into this world and raising me. I wish they had pushed me more into my purpose and pushed me more to do what I'm called to do. They didn't do that. They wanted me to do whatever it is that they told me to do. And that's not how you raise children. That's not how you raise children. So I had given my power to them at a young age. So as an adult, I didn't know how to break free from that. And once I really realized, it was hard for me. Like, it was a battle. Like, I was just afraid of everything, like, to make any move. So yeah, like, it was so bad until, like, I got married and my parents didn't know. I moved out and my parents didn't know. Like, I just left and did not come back. I had went and got an apartment with, he was my boyfriend at the time, but we had our son. I just went and got an apartment and never went back home, and I didn't show up till like a couple days later. So that's how much power I had given to my parents, until I was afraid to go to them and say, you know, I want to move out and get my own apartment, or, you know, I'm moving out, or I'm getting married. Like, I did it all in secret. That's just how much power my parents had over me. That's just an example, but that's a story time. I'm gonna have to tell y'all about that. But yeah, so that was my struggles. Now, I don't struggle with people and opinions anymore, because I've seen what it's done to me, and at 31 years old, I can't let that be my struggle anymore. Like, entrepreneurship is my thing, and if I want that, I gotta keep going for it no matter what people say. It's how you break down the opinions. And if you have people in your life that speak nothing but negativity and always say, girl, you shouldn't do that, or even if a text message, y'all, you shouldn't do that. And even if you have people in your life that, you know, you go to and they might say something, you don't always have to agree with what they say. It is your life and what you're choosing to do. Everybody is not going to agree with what you have going on. I couldn't understand that. And as moms, we don't understand how And as moms, we don't understand how much that affects us as a mother in our parenting, because if you're not careful, you'll start doing the same thing to your children if you don't break it immediately, if you don't become aware of what you're doing immediately. So the indecisiveness, the procrastination, the fear, the overthinking, the people and opinions, like, we can pass that stuff down to generations. And in that book, Switch on Your Brain, you have to read it. They talk about that. They talk about how habits and thoughts can be passed through, even when you're pregnant, can be passed through the DNA. And as the child, like, builds up and grows, these things are being embedded as they grow in your womb. But it can also affect your children even when they're here physically. And if they capture the same habits and thoughts and things that you do that's toxic, it can go to generations. There's a scripture in the Bible that talks about that, like how generations can suffer from the sins of their parents. And so say my grandparents or great grandparents could have done some things that just slowly but surely pass through the generations, and it just keeps going. And if somebody is not there to break these things, there's no way you can build legacy. There's no way you can build wealth. There's no way you can break down walls of Jericho. Like, you can't do anything if there is not one person there to break those cycles. I mean, like, when it comes to thinking about when I look at the perspective of my children, I cannot allow my children to go through what I went through. Like, I will let them go through things so they can learn, because that's how God builds us up to do what he's called us to do. But I mean, that negative mindset and toxic people and environments and fear and overthinking and procrastination and all that stuff, as I learn to break these things out of my life, my children are not going to do this. They are not going to do this. My parents did not teach me to not do these things. They taught me to do whatever I told them to do, whatever they told me to do. So as an adult, that's what I did. And that's why it was so hard for me to just get a grip on my own life. It took for me to get to like 30 years old to really realize, like, this is my life. Like, even after being married and having children, this is my life. And because I felt like they had so much power in my life, I depended on them for everything. They were the first one that I would go to for anything, even though they weren't there for me in the way like I needed them to be mentally. But that's the power. That's the strongholds and the chains and the bondage. So anyway, before I start preaching up in here, that's my struggles as an entrepreneur, and I just wanted to share that. I just scratched myself, y'all. I just wanted to share that with y'all. I hope the rain wasn't too loud. Like, that's why I feel like I'm talking so loud, because I'm in the car. But I wanted to share that with you because it's, I mean, man, even for my husband, like, God has really been speaking to me about not only my children, but my husband, because if I do these things, my husband is watching me and he will follow. How can anybody grow and move forward in a marriage if both people are doing the same toxic things? Somebody has to change. So this is not only for you, this is for, like, whoever you're connected to or whoever is connected to you. They're watching you, they're following you. But if you have a family and you're married, it starts at home, sis. It starts at home. So these are my struggles, or was my struggles. Let me change that. That was my struggle. They're not my struggles anymore. And that is why I'm able to even talk about this, because I'm aware. Awareness is so important. And awareness starts in your mind, meaning that you made the decision to say, okay, something got to give. That's when awareness will kick in. And if you're seeking that change in your life, everything will start to reveal itself. But it requires action. And I have been taking action by doing that. I read, I pray, I pay attention to what I do in my life now and what is going on and why my life is so repetitive and why I never had the money that I need and why am I always lacking and why am I always in survival mode. When you start asking those questions, why, the how will come. I'm done. Remember to glow. Remember to affirm yourself. Remember to do what makes you happy. I think I'm going to post this on my Fearless Money as well, because this affects your money, girl. If you, like, can't make decisions and you procrastinate, you overthink, and you allow people to come into your life and speak all that crap, that affects your money. You cannot live a fearless money lifestyle, and you cannot glow up at all. So I am out. Got to go do some things. Remember to glow, and I'm glad I got that out. I feel like, oh. Remember to glow. Remember to affirm yourself. Remember to do what makes you happy, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you like this video, please share it with someone. Please comment below. Please go to my Instagram page at the Mommy Glow Up. Even go visit my other page, Fearless Money, because I talk about mindset and money, because it's your mindset that affects your money. Everybody could be billionaires and millionaires, but because people don't have the right mindset, we can't get there. Everyone could be abundant, but because people don't have the right mindset, they can't get there. So Fearless Money is all about mindset and breaking down those things like I just talked about, so you can see your bank account filled to the brim. But it's going to require you to do what you need to do, and it starts here and making the decision to say, okay, this is what I want. I want $1 million. I want this, but it's going to require work and faith. So I'm out, you guys. Remember to just go on Instagram and follow me, the Mommy Glow Up, Fearless Money Inc. Comment below, share this video, and just let me know what you think. What was your takeaway from this? I'm out, because I'm almost at 30 minutes, y'all. So peace.